Hi, everyone. You're listening to the Your Number One Fan podcast, and I'm your host, Kim. I want you to think of me as your number one fan, and this podcast to be the most encouraging and inspiring thing you listen to every week. We're talking about mental health, mindset, not caring what people think, pivoting in life, being a mom, relationships, and much more. I'm so happy you're here. Now let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a solo episode of the Your Number One Fan podcast. Today, I have a nice glass of wine. It is almost 8 o'clock. My son's asleep. I should knock on wood for that one, but I'm feeling in the mood to get passionate about something and talk about something that I just really like talking about. If you know me at all, or you watch or listen or read any of my content, you know that mindset is so important to me and I'm so passionate about it. And I will say that it took me up until the last couple of years to really acknowledge the importance of mindset and the importance of the way that you talk to yourself and just the way your brain works and how it can work in favor or against what you're trying to do with your life and your happiness. I put together this long list. It's actually like 50 things I've learned in 30 years, but I wanted to break it down to smaller things. So mindset, career, relationships, confidence, like different subgroups. So I put together 6 things, and this can be multi-part because I have many more than 6, but we're going to start with these 6 mindset hacks or tips that I've learned over these 30 years, and I've learned them up until this year. These things are hard to not only learn, but to actually put into practice. You might hear these today and you're like, but then a year from now, you're like, okay, this makes sense to me, and I'm actually going to use it now. So let's just jump right in because I can talk about this forever. So number 1 is each small good thing adds up just as much as the small bad things. So that might sound confusing, but think about it like this. And this is a mindset thing that can help you in every single day because we tend to just not give ourselves enough credit, and we tend to let the bad things or the negative things, the failures, eat us up, no matter how small they are. So just think about this. If you are starting a new job and it's the morning and for some reason you woke up late and you're late, you let that small mistake determine the rest of your day, most likely. I mean, maybe you have this type of mindset under control and you're all set, you're working on this. But most of us, before we actually do the work to recognize this, we let that simmer. We let that almost dictate our day. And then we let ourselves believe that this small little thing matters so much, when the truth is it doesn't, first of all. And why don't we approach the same size improvements or wins the same way? The same size thing happened, but we let that negative thing impact us so much. It's not that you shouldn't acknowledge any failures or anything that you mess up on or mistakes. What I'm saying is almost remember that the flip side happens all the time, and we're not giving that same energy. We're not recognizing that all those good, tiny, tiny little wins are going to add up to something big. We only do that with the small, bad things. What I want you to take away today is just the mindset that when something small happens that's good, you need to remember the energy you bring to the situation when it's a negative thing or a mistake or a failure that's tiny. You let that simmer. You really let it impact you. You almost let it define you and dictate your day. And then you also consider it one thing that other things are just going to pile up on. So when these negative things happen, acknowledge that it's a very small thing and you don't have to keep adding to it. You don't have to let it snowball. And then at the same time, when the little wins happen, and it takes practice to actually recognize those wins and give yourself the grace and go out of your way to just appreciate and be grateful for yourself and the things that you're doing. But you need to remember those little wins also will snowball, and you should let those ones snowball. You should be using those small little wins that you might overlook otherwise. And I hope this makes sense because it is so important. And I think it's just human nature to think about these small negative things on such a bigger scale than the small positive things. So tomorrow, say you start your day and something happens and it was kind of your fault. Instead of letting that weigh on you, realize it's a small thing. This is my choice. Am I going to let this snowball? Am I going to let this stick in my head? No. But then also at the same time, recognize all the small little wins and all the small little good things that are happening, the small little improvements you're making. And then go out of your way to look for those small improvements and good things. And I hope that makes sense. The next mindset hack or tip that I have is that somebody needs you. Somebody needs you to be who you want to be, who you're passionate about being, who you feel in your heart you're supposed to be. Whatever makes you tick, whatever, like this podcast, talking about these things, doing everything I can to help, like literally at least one person, if I'm opening somebody's eyes, like that means so much to me and it makes me so happy. And I feel like you can hear through the microphone that I'm smiling right now. It's what brings me alive. That sounds like I'm crying. I'm not, like losing my breath. So someone needs you to step into who you're meant to be, who you want to be, because the world would be such a better place if everybody was doing that. And I'm not saying with all of these tips, I'm not saying, okay, do all these, it's super easy, and then your life will be great. That's not what I'm saying at all. But these are things that every single day, if you practice them, doors will open, moods will improve, and everything will just get better if you believe in yourself and set these good intentions and use these mindset tips. So again, this one is somebody needs you. So if you're going through your day and you're like, oh, I suck, or if you're going through your life and you're stopping yourself from actually pursuing something you want to pursue, you need to think somebody needs you. Somebody needs you to step into that role. For example, if let's say that you have a niece or you have a grandchild, however old you are, because this does not discriminate in age. You have a niece or a younger child in your family or a friend, okay? And you decide, okay, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to be a nurse. Now you are a nurse in this little child's world. They know a nurse. They know that you went to school. They know that you're doing something you're passionate about, that you did it even though it was hard. And this applies to anything. Maybe your best friend is like, wow, if they can go back to school at 40, I can do it too. Or maybe it's not that weird. Or I'm watching and I'm not laughing at her or making fun of her like I feel like other people would do if it were me. Or, for example, I have a couple examples of this. One being my content creator coach. Her name is Tess. I talk about her all the time. It's almost embarrassing because I just need to give her all the credit though. So it doesn't matter. But me seeing her TikTok video about being who you want to be, being a content creator. I can't remember exactly what the video was that introduced me to her, but it was something about doing it. Like, even though you feel cringy, even if you feel scared, doing it anyways. And that hits home so much because I am so passionate about this topic, clearly. So when somebody actually says it to me, I'm like, okay, this is my advice. Like, why am I not taking my own advice? And the way she put it was just so good. And she's so inspiring as a person too. Like, she has a lot of followers, but has nothing to do with it. She has a business. She made a huge pivot in her life. So regardless, she has changed my life. Like, it sounds really crazy to say that, but I mean, I saw her video and then I actually made the decision to set up a call with her, invest in a coaching call, and I got the guts and just ready to do it, to finally listen to my own advice and to become a content creator and to start a podcast. Like, I found her video, I went and did a coaching call with her. And then from there, I was like, all right, now I have this plan and I'm going to pursue it. So think about that. If she had not stepped into what she wanted to do and creating her business, Busy Blooming, and posting on TikTok, where would I be? I would be looking for the next person to do that. And who knows when that would have been. Her doing what she loves and her talking about what she loves and just doing it, even in the face of like, maybe people will make fun of me or maybe it won't work out or whatever. Somebody needs you to step into that. And maybe they're waiting for you to finally do that. And you're just setting people back, like don't feel guilty, but it's just crazy to think about. And like I said, the world would just be a better place if everybody was passionate and just loved what they were doing. It sounds so simple, but it's so not simple. It kind of sucks because if we all did that, like we'd all be happy. It just would be such a better world. So that's why I kind of just want to help anybody do this because we just would all be happier. Everything would be better. So anyways, let's do a little recap. So all the small wins you need to treat just as strongly as you treat the small bad things, quote unquote. And then the second one, somebody needs you. Somebody needs you to step into who you're meant to be. Somebody needs you because you're going to set an example. Somebody needs you because you're going to be a mentor to them. They're going to meet you, whatever it may be. Somebody needs you. The next mindset hack or tip is someone is out there doing what you want to do, and they're not doing it as well as you are. They're not as passionate as you are, and they're doing it and you're not. You're wasting time doubting yourself. You're wasting time waiting around. And at the same time, somebody started messy. Somebody started when they weren't ready. Somebody started when they wanted to. They didn't wait until, I think this is the right time. Or they didn't wait until somebody told them it was okay. They just gave themselves permission and started doing it. And guess what? They kind of suck at it. Or they're nowhere close to how good you are at it. And they're doing it anyways. You've met a lot of teachers in your life. I can see people doubting that they can be a good teacher, right? But then you think of the teachers out there, and there's a lot of teachers who aren't as passionate as other teachers. And the people holding themselves back from being teachers are like, I don't know if I can do it. Little do they know, they're going to be more passionate and love it more than a lot of teachers out there. And I hate to even use teachers as an example because teachers are amazing. But you get the point, I think. An entrepreneur is maybe a better example. Because there's a million business owners, a million entrepreneurs out there, and we all feel at one time or another like we're not good enough or that we can't do it. But the truth is you can. And the truth is there are people out there who are doing it worse than you with less passion than you would, yada, yada, yada. So that's the next one. Next, failing is more information. I know it is easier said than done to not worry about failure, or to not let failure get to you. Even the biggest ones, the most heartbreaking ones, you need to think of as more information. Because once you gelled at something, it's easy to let it eat at you. It's easy to feel less of a person, less of whatever you're trying to do. By actively replying to those negative thoughts or actively switching out those negative thoughts, with this new statement that failing is more information, it really does change your mindset completely. When I was first writing as a freelance writer, I got a lot of no's. I got a lot of, we're not a good fit. I had a couple clients where I did some test assignments and it just didn't work out. They didn't like my writing style, whatever it may be. That was a failure for me. And that really hit home. It made me look internally and I felt like crap about myself, to be honest. But had I used this mindset, I think I would have felt a lot better in the moment. That failing is more information. You're not meant for everything. You aren't going to be a good fit for everything. Even, what is the saying? The most juicy, delicious, beautiful peach. There's going to be people who don't like peaches. You're just going to fail at things. People aren't going to like you. Whatever it may be. Once you find these things out, that's good. Once you find out what you're not good at or what people are looking for in the certain areas, whatever it may be, failing is more information. So you might as well go for it, because whether you make it happen and it works out and everything goes great, that's awesome, or you fail, but you learn, you get more information. You feel more confident in the end because then you know what's meant for you, what to do next. You are more confident because you have more information. Next, you can either struggle for your dreams or you can struggle with regret. It's like the thing people say, choose your hard. You can either have a hard time, put all your blood, sweat, and tears into your dreams, or you can cry about not trying in the end. Like one is going to happen.